everybody, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be painting this loose abstract floral painting, plus sharing some acrylic painting tips along the way. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, smash that like button, and leave me some comments because it really helps out my channel. I've entitled this painting Daydream Whimsy, and I'll talk a little more about what that means to me in just a bit, but I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. What's a goal you've been daydreaming about achieving this year for yourself? Comment down below, I'd love to hear from you. Now, without further ado, let's get right on into the tutorial. So I'm starting off with some pretty loose, expressive strokes using a large, extra firm round brush. These brushes that I'm using here are the Simply Simmons Extra Firm line of brushes, and they really are some incredible paint brushes. They're a little bit hard to find though, unfortunately, and I lost my set when I moved, but anyhow, this brush is the XL size 40, I do believe, in the round, and it's super stiff and fat, and I just love it for backgrounds and clouds. Whenever I want a soft focus effect or a marbled background, I use it quite often. It's my favorite brush. I'm using the Liquitex Heavy Body Professional Acrylics. They have a thick, super heavy body viscous texture that's just perfect for impasto techniques, textural effects, palette knife painting. They really retain those expressive marks very well, even when dry. And I rendered this piece on a thick gallery wrap canvas with a rough, larger weave that really just helps to add to the texture and the visual interest of the overall effect that I'm hoping to achieve here. So my first acrylic painting tip right off the bat is when painting in this style, whenever you're going to be doing a lot of impasto, thick, expressive marks, very textural brush strokes or pointillism marks like I'll be doing later in this painting, really anytime you're dealing with a lot of texture, you need to use a spray varnish 1000%. Otherwise, your brush on varnish will gather and puddle around the stiff peaks and settle into the valleys of that texture. So it really does ruin the effect. It will often bubble a lot too, and it just makes a big mess. So take my word for it and use a spray varnish when you're all done to protect the painting, but not alter the finished terrain that you will be creating. So my next acrylic painting tip is on choosing supplies that are compatible with your painting style, because we can have really great quality paints and canvases, but they aren't always necessarily going to be compatible or the best option for the results that we're trying to achieve. Understanding the difference between the variety of materials you have to choose from goes a long way, so you're not fighting against the materials, but rather working with them to their strengths and advantages, particularly understanding the differences between smooth and rough canvases, as well as the differences in paint viscosity, heavy body versus soft body paints. This rougher canvas has a larger weave to the cotton or linen cloth and really accepts the heavy body paints. Think of the surface like an English muffin with all those nooks and crannies, how they really hold the butter into the muffin. Well, the rougher, coarser texture really holds on to that paint and allows for a lot of layers of this thicker paint. They're just a match made in heaven. It's not that you can't use heavy body paints for realism or on a smoother canvas, and I often do that. But in general, I find that smoother canvases work best for soft body paints or realism techniques whenever you're trying to get fine lines and details and you're often applying the paint much thinner, while the heavy body impasto techniques really benefit from a rougher, larger weave textured canvas whenever you're applying the paint very thickly. And while this painting certainly has some texture to it, This combo of paint and canvas that I'm using here really has the potential to build a lot more than what I've done here. You could pile it high, almost like painting with clay, and these paints can get you there. And this surface can handle it. You really have the potential to go big or go home with this combo. So the Liquitex Heavy Body Acrylics, I believe, are the first brand of acrylic paint that ever hit the market. The consistency is arguably thicker than any heavy body paints that I have tried. They're certainly the thickest in my collection, and they're even thicker than the Matisse Structure Acrylic, which I do have a full review and demonstration on my channel, so I'll be sure to link that video up in the description box, as well as the iCards up above in case you guys were interested in checking that out. I strongly encourage you to do so. I usually prefer a more smooth, buttery acrylic like golden, especially when I'm working in realism, but for these techniques that I did here, like the expressive marks I did in the background and the pointillism marks that I experimented with in the flower centers, these held their stiff peaks beautifully, even when they dried with very minimal shrinkage. So it really just depends on what you're doing with your paints and what the desired effect is you're hoping to achieve that will determine what paints are right for you and what surface. Some artists will love a thicker, heavy body paint, while others really need a soft body paint or even a fluid acrylic. So there's a couple of acrylic painting tips for you right there. Choose a paint that matches your painting style and is compatible with getting you the effects you want. Understanding the benefits and limitations of the different viscosities really goes a long way. Another painting tip that I have for you is when working in such a soft pastel color palette such as this, like I'm working in here, it's best not to use black or pre-mixed grays for your darks. Alternatively, I'm finding my contrast in rich purples and deep chromatic greens, as well as some very luscious dark chocolate browns. I'm still getting my values in, but in a much fresher way so as not to overwhelm everything else that's happening. The effect I'm going for here is light, airy, soft, and whimsical, just like a breath of fresh air when the viewer lays eyes on this painting. In a lot of ways, this particular color scheme reminds me of the Macaron cookie tutorial in soft pastel that I recently uploaded to the channel, so I'll leave that linked up as well in case you guys are interested. Now, let's talk about this painting. This is a larger piece for me, measuring in at 16 by 20 inches, and it does feature shimmering gold metallic accents for that extra touch of sparkle, that glitter of magic and fantasy that it lends to the whimsical nature of this painting. I wanted to convey this very sleepy, dreamlike vision, touched by heaven's light. When the viewer lays eyes on this painting, it should make the mind go tranquil and serene. I wanted everything to be very soft and delicate in feel. And I can absolutely see this painting hanging in a newborn's room or a little girl's bedroom, maybe, but for me, this painting represents new hopes and new beginnings, new life, and the courage to dare to daydream about the future again. Because for so many of us for so long, the future has been very uncertain. This painting, like a dark cloud passing over the sun before the light comes flooding back, I put all of my hopes for a happier, brighter, and better future into this painting, and I want the viewers to feel that as well when they see it. Should they choose to hang this painting in their bedroom, above their bed, their powder room, or in a child's room, I'd hope it would evoke calm serenity and light and remind us to dream. Now, one more acrylic painting tip before I go. It relates to the gold that I used, but really it applies to all metallic acrylics. A lot of artists seem a little intimidated by metallic paints or are unsure how to use them, but they really can be incredibly versatile and a lot of fun. Here I use the gold in a variety of ways. I didn't just use it full on straight from the tube everywhere. In some places I did, but I also experimented with mixing it into a gloss glazing medium to create thin veils of shimmering accents for a softer, more subtle look in areas like those bubbles I made over some of the petals. You can shear it down in varying degrees to control the intensity, as well as combining the metallic with transparent pigments to really achieve some striking effects, ranging from bold to more subtle, depending on how much you mix into your paints. So you really have a lot of control and versatility with these metallic paints. They can be so gorgeous full on, but also very beautiful used delicately in the wing of a bird, let's say, or fish scales, or even ocean beachscapes for a touch of shimmering sands, like with the bronze, for example. Let me know if you would like a whole video on metallic acrylics like gold, silver, bronze, copper, etc., showing not only the many ways that you can use them, different application methods and techniques, but also painting ideas for them, because I love metallic paints in general. You know, not just acrylics, but watercolor, pan pastels even make some great metallics. So let me know down below if you would like to see a video on that, and I'd be more than happy to do that. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching and for letting me share my artwork with you guys. I hope that you found today's video enjoyable and helpful. If you did, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and some comments, subscribe, and as always, have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!